Greetings from Southern Yankee Homestead. I'm Paul, and this is our homestead. So for this video, I thought we'd try something a little different and do a little bit of voiceover to explain some things. We're playing with different formats because you just never know what's going to work and what's not. Now I know my setup here is not the best. I have ideas of what I want to do, but I don't have the time to do what I'd like to do. This wood is red cypress, and originally I got it for the greenhouse project, but I didn't have enough to complete what I wanted to do the way I wanted to do it for the greenhouse. So we've had this sitting around in the garage, and I figured this was going to be the perfect project for it. This cypress is true 2-inch rough sawn, so it is not square, not even, and not flat, which is not necessarily something we want for our milking stand. We want a good flat surface for the animals to stand on. In the process of planing, my makeshift dust collector started spewing sawdust out the top, so finally, after a year with this, it's time to clean out the barrel. I had originally used the 5-gallon bucket that comes with this Bauer dust collector. Very quickly I realized that it is not most volume. Running that planer, I can fill up that 5-gallon bucket in no time. This is a 55-gallon plastic barrel I got off Marketplace for 20-25 bucks. I don't actually remember. I cut the lid out and took some scrap plywood and glued and screwed a ring to the inside edge, and then I made a lid that fit the Bauer dust separator. Had very good luck with this. I only have to clean out the vacuum after the wife is done vacuuming her car. I just kept it ultra simple. There is a lip on the inside where the original gasket is, so this is has a gasket on it and is completely sealed. Again, this is not ideal, but this is what I have available. I have a hand planer, and I want to square up the edges to get rid of as much gap as possible between the boards. Because anywhere there's gap, there's potential for moisture to collect. I have a larger jointer, but I haven't had the time, as usual, to get that back up and running. I didn't buy a new one, and I'm not going to spoil it for when I actually do get the jointer out and build a stand and get it running again. And I just had a secondary thought. Safety first. I'm running something that spins very fast with loose clothing. That's a recipe for disaster. In case you're wondering, I'm watching the edited video while I do the audio commentary for this. So if this isn't working for you, sorry, doing the best I can. And then we clean up our mess. And here is the subject of today's video. Hun built this about 3 years ago, and it has been sitting outside in the goat yard, for the most part, ever since. We have had tents over it in the past, but those tents have all been destroyed. A more permanent barn is in the plans, but again, time. The original boards on this were tulip tree or yellow poplar that was untreated and rough sawn. Approximately 2 inches thick. It was one of the first things I did when we got a sawmill. As you can see, they're a little bit past their prime. Okay, a lot of it past their prime. Did they even have a prime? Bye-bye. Off screen, I dry fit the boards in just to see how they'd fit. They were not perfect, but then again, I'm not a carpenter and don't claim to be. I can stick a couple pieces of wood together, but I don't think I'm going to be making a career out of cabinetry. Even though this is cypress, I'm trying to do everything I can to ensure that it lasts as long as possible. If I take a little bit of time now, I may get another couple years out of this before I have to do anything again. It does make the wood look pretty though, doesn't it? Again, to try to make this last as long as possible, off screen I found some flashing tape that I just had on the shelf from the door replacement on the house. So I decided why not use that to create a barrier between the cypress and the rough sawn pine / scrap 2x4s that we built this out of. And because I have a crooked eye, we're going to go ahead and give a straight line that I can actually see so that I'm not putting screws off center. I don't show it, but I also marked where I'm going to be putting the screws on the crosswise with 4 screws per board. And we are sinking the screws in deep. So I'm not just countersinking, I'm countersinking and counter boring. Oops. If you've never seen this before, this is what they call a plug cutter. I decided to use plugs on this not for the aesthetic value as much as anywhere the screw would be in the wood would leave a small pocket where water could collect and soak into the wood. By plugging the screw holes, I hope to prevent most of the moisture from soaking into the wood and allowing it to wick off. Yeah, I had it a little fast initially, so she was smoking a lot. Crap, wrong plug size. That's better. I think I'm using Tight Bond 3. I'm not sure. I don't know what I'm supposed to use for this, but I know that is what I had, so that is what I am going to use for this. Or did use for this, depending on how you look at it. And of course you got to remove the heads. And even though I have a chisel, I didn't trust those plugs not to break off. We sanded it down. We'll leave it at that. The side that I originally sealed with the water seal is actually on the bottom. I only did one side knowing that I'd have to do some trimming and some additional work. So this is treating the opposite side of what I hadn't done. Hi, Frosty. Naturally, I had to show some video of milking stand in work. Hey. And yes, we don't milk by hand. We have a vacuum milker. It makes it so much easier and cleaner in a lot of aspects. What are you staring at, goat? Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.